My name is Andrei Sitnik. I am from Evil Martians company. And I started open source 20 years ago. At that time, we didn't have even a GitHub. My first project was on SourceForge. And I'm here to share my experience of creating a four very popular projects of like how did I promote them and how you can make your projects popular. But first we need to understand why do you need to start new project? Because we have a very like bad idea in our software industry that every developer should have an open source project to find a job. I think this is a very bad idea because in reality it doesn't work like this. Like you have an idea, GitHub, popularity, success. The reality of open source is completely different. For instance, open source is not a good way to find followers because like there is a lot of examples of like very popular projects and like people creating them is not so popular. Oh, I personally think that articles and talks is much better way to bring popularity to your personality. Another idea is that like big open source project, like any open source project, is not a good way to create your curriculum to find a job because like you can spend a months creating a projects and without any results because like only a small amount of projects become popular. In reality, it's much better to spend your time of creating a commits to some existing big projects. Like if you want to find a job, create an app or try to fix documentation in open source project because there is a lot of issues in documentation in popular projects. Or the best way, start to use beta version of like Babel, White, or any other open source projects. And by using beta versions, you will find a lot of issues. And this is the fastest way to go to core team. And it will be much better than creating your own project. I believe that there is only one reason to create a new project. It's if you want to change the world. For instance, I create auto prefixer because I didn't like how Compass deal with vendor prefixes. I want for people to stop thinking about them rather than using mixins. Or like I create post CSS because I want more CSS tooling. Or like another project was created to reduce size of websites, but it didn't help, unfortunately. Okay, like if you want to change the world, how? You need popular projects, but you know, good idea is not the only thing that you need to good projects. I have a few popular projects, but in reality, most of my projects was not a success. I believe that popularity of the project, it's your popularity, is how much effort do you put to promotion, its benefits to user and luck. And there is no idea there. Of course, like you need to have some benefits for user, but it's not the idea. Okay, to understand how you can promote your projects, we need to have some base axioms to create the theory of promotion. So the formula which I already explained, your popularity, effort to promotion, benefits for user and luck. There is a very popular misconceptions with a lot of people think that like our users make a rational choice across all options. This is a lie. In reality, people make irrational choice across only popular options. Another axiom is like another misconception is that people don't read line by line. In reality, right now, people mostly scan because they don't have a time. Okay, this is axioms. So like, what do you need to prepare yourself before creating, before starting to promote the projects? First, you need to understand that your popularity is connected with your project's popularity in both ways. My main mistake was that I did not have a Twitter account in English, only in Russian, and as a result, people don't know whom to mention. So before creating a new project, create new social media account in English for you. So your project's popularity will bring popularity to you and vice versa. Second, you need to be ready that the popularity of projects is result of the luck. And as a result, amazing projects just could not have a luck and, you know, not become popular just for no reasons. And the only way is like to try more and more. Okay, but what do you need to do to promote your project, to make your project popular? First, and the main thing, you need to improve your documentation. Documentation, README file is the main entry point for any type of audience. So, but it's important to understand that people don't read line by line, and this is what you should keep in mind in creating a docs. First, you need to explain the benefits of user. If they don't have a benefits in this scanning mode, that will not read the docs. So you must to start from the benefits, so the users will have reasons to continue reading. And as a result, your first third paragraph should be very clear, should explain why this product is useful for your users and explain the difference from others projects. For instance, in post CSS, we explain directly what it does, like how this tooling could be useful for users and why it's important. We use big names to explain that. And be ready that the first initial descriptions is not which you will write, in 5 minutes. We must spend a week to write a good first description. This is the core idea of your promotion. So really put all time that you had. Like in author prefix, we again explain that it's post CSS plugins, it works with CSS, it add vendor prefixes, and we again use the big names like Google and Twitter to explain why it's important. Then it is better example. Here we don't use a big names in second section of why it's important. We explain the benefits of the difference from another tools. There is a good example how you should not do your introduction. This my favorite JavaScript framework. But initial explanation, like the first line on the website, is cybernetically enhanced web application. What does it mean? How it can be useful for me? I believe that it's better to explain this is JavaScript framework with unique compiler, which generates smaller JavaScript file and explain why it's useful for me. How to create this first short descriptions. Imagine if you're going to the bar and how you will describe your work, your projects to your friends, and that cut it by half or more. Then you need to understand that people will not again read line by line. Instead, they will scan. They will just read only some biggest part. So we need to write text which will explain something to users which not read. How to do it? It's the solutions remind me of progressive specs. So we need initially describe the whole idea, and then if user will be interesting, the user will go to details. The best tool for that is illustration or source code. This way of information is much easier to consume. It requires less energy, and so we need to use them in our documentation. Second, use list and bolts. Highlight some text in bold because it's really improves scanning. This is how people will see my documentation. It's exactly what I want for them to see. And then if they will interested in that main ideas, they can go back deeper to details. Again, like a progressive spec. If you have any numbers, use real proofs. Like if you say that your tool small, show the byte number. If you say it's fast, show benchmark. If you say it's good, it has good API, show this API. Then after this initial explanation and images and source code, put detailed step-by-step instruction how to use your application. Again, people right now don't have a time to understand your tools. They just need a copy-paste guide. So don't use use post CSS, explain where to find config, where to put the data. If there is a multiple ways, help with this choice. If there is a multiple types of users and you can't write a simple one step-by-step guide, write several of them and create a different section for different type of users. And try this step-by-step example of new fresh account without any configs, because you will find a lot of issues. Okay, you wrote a very good documentation. How to promote it? There is a very popular mistakes of writing only one single tweet and nobody cares of my projects, style of depression. In reality, you need to do your promotion again and again in these iterations ways. Each iteration will contain some action, some tweet articles. Then you will collect feedback, and then you increase the projects after this feedback. And this is why it's called iteration. It's important like that your first iteration will be smaller and next one will be bigger. Don't promote your tool everywhere because there is a lot of things which you need to fix according to feedback. So for instance, your first step in this your first iteration will be just go to your friends and explain the idea to them. In this step, you will understand like the best way to describe the project. In the second step, try to convince your colleagues. Like your colleagues will bring a lot of feedback about how to hard to use your tool or how to hard to understand your documentation. Only on third step, go to some social media. And there you will need to find the best way to explain the benefits of your projects. Do some multiple ways to find the proper way to hit the hearts of your users. And on each tweet, don't forget to describe your project from the beginning. So for people who like miss the first tweet, and on each tweet post some code example or some screenshots because like image sells. And only after social media go to Reddit or Hacker News, they will bring a little more users and then you will fix compatibility issue. And only then go to some big articles platform and write a good guide, like good comparison about your tool. After all of this, don't afraid to go to other tool and suggest your library as a dependency because we are open source community. It's okay to like suggest your tool. We are not competitors. You're not, like it's not unpolite. We are helping each other. If your library is good by recommending it to some projects, even if you are creators, you're doing a good thing. And if some big projects start to use your tool, use them in your description because like unfortunately a lot of people need big names to decide to use your tool. And then again and again, iteration and iteration, continue that after all the steps. Don't afraid of being spam, but again, don't do the spam. Like do iteration every 2 weeks or every month. But why it's important to do iteration? First, because like if you will write only one single tweet or like post everywhere in that single day, right now people don't have a time, and on that exactly day they may be drunk and will miss your tweet. Second reason why you need this iteration, because initially your project is full of mistakes, and this iteration will help polishing your project before going to the big audience. This is why like promote everywhere in a single day is a very big mistake. And the most important part, people choose irrationally. They choose open source library rationally, and the main question that they care about is like do you have a maintainer which still supports the projects? And if you will write only one single tweet and then will be silent about your project, they will think that you forgot your projects. If you will write every 2 weeks about your project, they will see that you are active and will trust your projects more. Okay, you create a good documentation, you start to promote the projects, and you find your community. But then this community start to send you more and more issues. How to deal with it? We will have more and more issues if your projects start becoming popular. You will there is a risk of what I call circle of guilt. This is a problem when you have a lot of issues because like you're blaming that you are a bad maintainer because you're not answering to all of them. And this idea, this blaming of yourself is bringing depression and lack of productivity, and so you don't have a time to answer to new issues, and so it's create a circle. To avoid this problem, first I recommend to not write code yourself. You are not free support. Open source is a community. If somebody needs something from your projects, ask them to write it. It's completely okay to ask issue creator to write the fix. Then it's I have a very good tradition of to answer to issue every morning before the work, because it's not a very productive time, and like issues, answering the issues is a good time, to warm your brain. And so this is what I recommend. With like answering issue 50 minutes every day will like clean your inbox even for such popular project like post CSS. Then, if you don't have a time to think, to like ask person to write a code, how you see the solutions, it's okay to ask people to weigh it. Because a lot of people, like, it's really sad when they don't feel like connection to the other people. And like, even you write that you cannot solve the solution right now, it will like help them a lot, because it's very important for them to see that somebody is listening to him. And the most important part, every time when you solve the problem, when you answer some issue, try to think a way to avoid this issue again in the future. For instance, if a users create some, stupid questions, it doesn't mean that user is stupid. It means that it's hard to find an answer. So if somebody create an issue because they use your projects wrong, add a warning to your tool. So this warning will prevent you from creating new issues. If you can't write a warning, add the answer to documentation. So at least it prevents some users to open an issue again. If it's hard to you to find right documentation, to write right documentation, or like you already wrote it, but people continue to ask the same question again, ask them how you should change the docs, why they did not find an answer, because like your users sometimes it's much better than you of writing documentation, because you know where to find the answer, they don't. But like it's all these ways is just to reduce the number of issues, but how to deal with negative feedbacks, it's like happens. To be honest, I don't know the answer. In reality, it's really hard. But one of like ways to reduce the problem, like if somebody's angry about your tool, ask them, like start to ask questions. Why? Because a lot of your haters, they don't hate you too much, they don't really want to hurt you, they just want to be, they just want for somebody to hear them. And sometimes it's funny that your main haters, it's very easy to convince them to become your main fan. And also, remember that we are not competing in the open source. Open source is a free job. And so if there is some better tools, it's not a problem for you. It's opposite. It's for you a way of it's for you a way to find a freedom, because if users will switch to another project, it's not competition. They will stop sending issue to you and you will be free. So, quick summary. Your project popularity is the result of your popularity, promotion, benefits for user, and unfortunately luck. Be ready to create a new many projects. One sometimes not enough. The good projects can die because of like not be lucky enough. Then your users choose irrationally across popular options. Don't think that they choose rationally. Third, people don't read, they scan, and you need to write documentation in this manner. In your README, write a very clear description what you're doing, what your tool is doing. Explain exactly how your tool is useful for users. Explain very clearly the difference in like list of items, and create a very easy step-by-step instruction how to add projects, how to add your library to the projects. Then do iterations of promotion, not one day, like every 2 weeks. And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask me. You can use social media and ask me here. It was nice to prepare this talk for you.